please can you start the broadcast, please? I'll confirm when we're live.
Thank you.
We're live now.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending my virtual Executive Lead Member for Children's Services Decision Day. This Decision Day is being webcast on YouTube via the County Council website. We've received no deputations today, and we have got one item on the agenda, which is a key decision for holiday activity and food grant recommendations summer 2021. Can I hand over to Suzanne Smith to present, please?
That's fine. Thank you, Councillor Chad. So the report in front of you today is seeking approval for a number of grant awards to provide holiday activities and food for free school meal eligible children in the summer holidays. This is funding that's come from the Department for Education. Hampshire County Council have been awarded up to 3.3 million to provide these schemes between over the Easter, summer and Christmas holidays this calendar year. We provided a scheme over Easter, a face-to-face scheme that was well attended. Over 6,000 children in Hampshire attended those schemes, undertaking kind of fun and educational activities, but also receiving a meal, and in most cases a hot meal. And we've learnt from that, and we are going for a wider, broader scheme over the summer, where we will be looking to commission over 53,000 places across the county. The grant recommendations are split into two types of provision. There are grants that are for holiday activities, so generally targeted at younger children up to about age 11. And then we had a separate grant stream, which was for kind of wider whole family activities and provision targeting teenagers. And there's a mix of those grants that we're looking for your approval for today, to a total value of just under £2.1 million. We've got some criteria set by the Department for Education, so we have to provide activities for 4 weeks of the holidays for 4 hours. Each activity provision needs to last for at least 4 hours. And we also, that it must include food. There are a number of other outcomes that we need to try and achieve, and we've worked those into the grant application process, but also into the training and induction offer that we will be working with these providers on between now and provision starting in the summer holidays. Just to give you a bit of context, the eligible children are those who are in receipt of free school meals. That's gone up quite significantly in Hampshire in recent months. There are over 31,000 eligible children, and we're targeting attendance of around 25% of those children with our holiday scheme. We'll be monitoring the uptake and the delivery of all of the summer schemes, including face-to-face inspections, but also through a self-assessment process, working with providers to make sure that schemes, the attendance at schemes is maximised. Other than that, the recommendations are set out in the report, and there's a detailed appendix that lists all of the individual grant awards and the number of places that are being offered. Thank you.
Chair, would you mind if I just add one explanatory note, perhaps to new members or members not familiar with this decision-making process, which is that normally we would have done this over a longer period of time. We have set decision days, etc., don't we? But of course we had to do this quickly to get the money out, basically, because you're fairly late a notification of the grant, and then obviously we need to get money into the hands of the providers so that they can get themselves set up for the summer holidays. So just a bit of an explanation on that bit of it.
Thank you for that, Steve, and thank you, Suzanne, for your report, and thank you for yours and your team's hard work on this, because it has been a really quick turnaround for you, and yet again you've done an amazing job with finding those places. I'm really pleased to see in the report that that geographically we've got a widespread of schemes across Hampshire this summer, and the number of spaces it's a huge number of places that are available. This is a really good news story. I'd like to just ask if I asked all my questions in the briefing session, so I haven't got any further questions, but I will open the floor to if any other members or officers have got any comments or questions that they wish to ask. Councillor Porter.
Yeah, thank you. And as I said before, I think it's a really good news report, and I know Suzanne and her team have worked extremely hard on this. So grateful thanks to her for that. I just wondered, it's done and distributed by district, and I wondered if those numbers reflect the numbers of free school meal children in each of those districts. I'm presuming, because I know Suzanne's very good, that it does, but I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, absolutely does, Jackie. Yes, so we looked at how many eligible children there were in each district. We didn't restrict applications. We wanted to see what the market was able to provide, but we did look at that in terms of our awards, and we adjusted some of the awards to make sure that it was well balanced across the county and reflected where the free school meal children actually are.
When we're allowed to go and visit, I used to go and visit some of these that happened before, and they really are appreciated. So it's a good news story. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Suzanne, for responding. Councillor Rob Humby, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Ros. It was just a follow-on from that, really. Just in terms of data, and you said geographically the spread. So just interested what Suzanne said there. So do you then produce sort of a heat map in terms of where the need is? I can see you nodding already, so I assume there was. So interested, it's just not who gets it in terms of district necessarily, but where the need, where the request comes in, and that data clearly is useful for other purposes. So I'm looking that's already. So.
Yes, we provided that in the application pack to providers, so when they bid for the grant, they could see exactly that it was a heat map where the children are. And which schools were nearby, so that they had some information about other provision and potential locations and schools to work with.
Okay, all right, that's great, thanks. And if I may, Chairman, just one further question. I see in para 31, understandably, because where we are, the Easter decision report was different amounts and some was returned. I'm assuming there must be an end date at that at some point, that if that happened again, you can only roll forward so far. I imagine we make sure we spend it, but presumably there is a drop dead date where that can't carry on, I assume.
Yes, there is. Although we modelled, we deliberately went smaller for Easter, partly because of where we were with COVID. We were very uncertain at the time about what could go ahead. We wanted to load as much funding into summer as possible, because we feel that's the time that families need the provision the most. But we absolutely will make sure that we use all of the available funding.
Okay. All right, that's great. Thanks very much. Thanks, Ros.
Thank you, Councillor Humby, and thank you, Suzanne, for your response to that one. Do I have any other questions from members or comments? Anyone would like to? Councillor Powell-Hare.
Thank you, Ros, and thank you, Suzanne. That's a really, really brilliant scheme. And mine is just a comment, actually, not actually a question. And I totally support it. And I'm really pleased it's spread out over the districts. Thank you.
Brilliant. I would just, oh, sorry, Councillor Kirsty North.
Thank you, Ros, Chairman. I just wanted to say as well, a big thanks to Suzanne and Steve and Erica for all their hard work. And it may be useful post activities after the summer holidays to have a look at this as part of the work programme for our Children and Young People Select Committee, just to see which ones were successful and the sort of reach that they had, you know, where parents were choosing to send them, and whether the grouping by district is working, or whether perhaps they prefer an activity out and where they're going with it, a bit like short breaks and how they're delivered, and have a sort of in-depth look at that through a item on our committee agenda. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor North. Can that be noted as an item for the select committee, please? Thank you. Just like to make one comment, if I may, as well, that actually this benefits our children so much, but it also benefits those people that are working for the organisations that are part of this and are receiving the funding for this. That was one. I was really privileged to have a phone conversation with one of the organisations after the last set of funding went out, and that was that they were really appreciative about the learning that they were able to gain from this. So it's not just our children that are benefiting; it's actually benefiting far more people in Hampshire than we possibly realised at first. So I think that's really great. Has anyone else got any other comments that they would like to make? No. And if I can take everyone to page 3, where there are 2 recommendations, I'll read both of those out. The first recommendation is that it's recommended that the Executive Lead Member for Children's Services approves the award of the HAF summer grants to the organisations identified in Appendix 1 to this report up to the value of 2,061,000. 2.6 million is easier, isn't it, to say? And the second recommendation is that it's recommended that the Executive Lead Member for Children's Services delegates approval to the Director of Children's Services to approve the reallocation of any HAF remaining or underspent funds to organisations delivering services that meet the criteria of the grant set out in paragraph 18 in consultation with the Executive Lead Member. This may include new grant partners, organisations to supplement the HAF summer offer where gaps are identified at a local level. I'm happy to approve both of those recommendations and look forward to seeing this actually come into the select committee to have some feedback on what's been done with it. So thank you very much everyone for your attendance today.
Thank you, Chair.
I'll confirm when we